family court judges are going to like to see you trying. But for us to be able to make that case after the mistake, that parenting class, the therapy, that's going to be something that's tangible that makes it easier for the judge to make a decision in your favor. What is going on, everyone? This is Mark Reel Jr., the Fathers Rights attorney, and I'm here with another episode of the Fathers Rights Playbook. And on today's episode, we are going to talk about how men can rehabilitate themselves in the eyes of the judge when they make a mistake early in their divorce case. And here to discuss this with me is managing attorney at Real Fathers Rights here, Ryan Dreyer. Ryan, how are we doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Mark.
Awesome. So here's the deal. I got asked this question. We hosted an event at one of our offices over the weekend, and I got asked this question of what is the number one thing that keeps men from getting 50-50 custody? And it's a very easy answer for me. Almost everything is self-inflicted. Men make an emotional decision. You do something, you say something, you send something, you act in a way that you normally wouldn't act, and it makes you look really, really bad in the eyes of the judge, whether it leads to a restraining order filing or maybe even a permanent restraining order getting granted, or just you looking like a dickhead. Usually what keeps us from getting really good, equitable custody arrangements early, even when mom's trying her best, is usually a self-inflicted wound to the foot. You turn the shotgun at your foot and you just blow it off. So what we want to talk about today is you've made that mistake, because far too many men make that mistake. What are some steps that they can take to help get their custody case back on track?
All right. And I guess it goes a couple different ways, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the classic ones is the guy starts drinking, goes out and gets a DUI, right? That's a big one. You'd be surprised where you think, well, life can't get worse. It can, and it will if you're not careful, right? You're going to go out if you get that DUI. So for there, number one, and I think this is also tied to stupid drunken texts or violent outbursts or
punching walls,
breaking things, crushing children's toys, yelling at the children. This all comes back to if substance abuse is an issue or a factor, you've got to stop drinking, stop
Let's start here.
using.
I can tell you 75% of men are going to get accused of either substance abuse, alcohol abuse, or anger issues, usually all three, the Holy Trinity. And If you do something that the judge in their brief period handling your case can see, oh, this might be true, that's going to have a major impact early in your case.
Absolutely, because, a lot of times people throw around these substance abuse, but the family code, and I won't get into the code section, actually requires there to be an incident, something verifiable that they can look at.
The court has to make a finding of it. Yeah.
Correct. Don't give them the finding, right? Don't give them the drunk in public or the DV or anything else like that. But realistically, it comes down to, and I'm sure most of you don't actually have a substance abuse issue. But if during a tough time in your life, you get drunk or it's a factor, it's going to be used against you, and you're going to be painted that way. Yeah. So please, it really comes down to if you're in the middle and the judge looks at it and goes, all right, all eyes are on this guy. If he can't take control of himself right now in this limited time frame, then he's not able to control himself. So if that means going to AA classes, or if that means going to counseling, or if that means going to anger management, or at the very least, stop drinking, go start working out, look good in front of that judge. That judge sees you and sees a clean, put-together person, right? These are the things that you can do to help yourself.
Let's talk about that. So the biggest thing when that mistake has been made, once it's out, we can't take it back. If you get arrested, if you send nasty text messages to the new boyfriend, whatever it may be, we can't put that back in the box once it's out. But a key to it, what you're talking about, is having a plan. In the legal term would be rehabilitating a witness, how we can make you look good or look better in front of the judge. I think a big thing is if you get a DUI, if you get some alcohol offense, if you get caught with, they're not really doing too much arresting for weed. If you get caught with a drug, or you get caught at a party with a drug, or you end up arrested, is that you take action immediately. and I actually talked about this a few weeks ago with Raphael, is that a lot of times part of the plan is kind of the 8 Mile strategy. Eminem in the last rap battle in the movie 8 Mile, first thing he does is he lays out all the negatives, what the other guy's going to say, and then says, these are the bad things, but here's the good things. Here's the things we've moved on to since then, which can be really effective.
I think so. If you've made the mistake and it's undeniable, own it.
Accountability is huge too.
Oh, to these judges, if you deflect, if you say, I did that because they did this, right? You're not taking responsibility. That judge is going to look and go, you learned nothing, right? You don't take accountability. This is always where you had a DUI 3 years ago, and now we're in court, and you still want to argue the basis of the DUI, or you want to argue the basis of a DV years later. It's done. It's fait accompli.
Yeah.
Move forward. And what is your plan going forward? How have I adapted? Say, mea culpa. I did this. This is what I've done to change myself.
Well, think about this. So your partner is going, your former partner is going to look at what's happened in the past. Hey, you got this DUI 5 years ago. Sometimes it's even when you guys are together. And some judges don't, we can go into that. But some judges, if it happened when you guys were still together and it didn't lead to the separation, the judge don't want to hear about it. Mm-hmm. If you allege drug use, and my favorite one ever was the other side came in huffing and puffing about how our guy had used drugs in the past, and he was an addict. Once an addict, always an addict. And I just quietly looked up at the judge and I said, Your Honor, they met in rehab. And the attitude turned. It's like, we looked at it in our file and we said, yes, he's had a drug issue. He's dealt with it. He spent time in prison. He did all these things. Here's what he's done since then, though. The other side hung on the past. Mm-hmm. We won because we're looking forward and we're showing how the guy's improved.
Well, and look at that. Judges, our society, everyone loves a comeback story. We all love someone that's fallen low and then pulled themselves up with the bootstraps and done that. And really, the other part is like, look, you're making decisions for your children. A lot of times it is, are you going to go out and get drunk, or are you going to take care of your children, right? Are you going to allow them to make a case, or are you going to do things to better yourself for your children? What's most important to you in your life? Make that decision.
Well, and here, once you've already made a mistake, once you've already made that fatal error, maybe it didn't end in a restraining order, maybe it was just a restraining order trial and you ended up settling it, whatever it may be, maybe it was an arrest. But understand that after that, there's going to be even more scrutiny on your behavior. There's going to be even more, and it's going to come up every single hearing. So having a plan, being able to keep composed, and be able to show what you are doing. Now, I'm someone who's like, hey, I think therapy can be a great thing. I think it can really help people. Full disclosure, I think that in today's society, we rely on things like this a little bit too much. And I think the default in family court a lot of times is, oh, he needs therapy, he needs this.
Right.
I understand. Most fathers, most parents don't need a parenting course to be a good parent. Just some effort. But understand that family court judges are going to like to see you trying. Mm-hmm. Now, okay, you could go out and read a book, you could go out and watch a video, you could just really focus on it. But for us to be able to make that case after the mistake, that parenting class, the therapy, that's going to be something that's tangible that makes it easier for the judge to make a decision in your favor.
Right. And so I tell the clients, it doesn't matter how far you've fallen. If we have a plan to get you back, it might take years, right? But if you keep jumping through those hoops and the judge keeps setting up things and you keep knocking them down and you show up on time and you're there, you're going to get back in that kid's life, right? You're going to get back. You're going to force that judge. Man, what else can this guy do, right? And I know that a lot of times we have pride and we don't want to. We don't want to give up the power and our own agency in life.
Yeah.
But sometimes, if you've gone low, you've basically going to say, you know what, Your Honor, I'm not going anywhere. Keep telling me what to do. You tell me what to do and I'm going to do it, right? And I've seen clients go from supervised visits to 50-50. It wasn't, I know we all hope it happens right away, but it might take you 3 years, right? But if you're dedicated and you're doing right, you will get there. You will get there.
It can happen. I'll even go a step further. I mean, I had a client, we went to trial. It's probably been about 18 months ago. We went to trial, and at one point in time, he had a restraining order granted against him. He was a dumbass, and over the course of 6-7 years, he went from no visitation to supervised visitation to having every other weekend. And we finally got to trial on that case, and he got full legal and physical custody. But he kept doing what needed to be done. Even if it wasn't what he wanted to do, even if he didn't feel like it was right, he kept jumping through those hoops, and the judges see that.
100%. Because I guess what they see is the dedication. How important is this to you, right? And that's the other part in getting back is have a game plan and execute it. No, take agency over your own life, but also learn, what are those children's doctors? Who are their friends at school? What's their favorite color? All this stuff. Know your child. If you want to be a 50-50 parent, have 50-50 knowledge, right?
Even if she makes it difficult.
Yes.
Because I promise you, I'll say this. We've really, across Southern California, there's been a wave of new judges. And I think in terms of for fathers, this wave of new judges is more equitable, is more reasonable, is more progressive than the old guard. And I will say a lot of the old guard that's still around are some of the best judges that are out there. Yes. So we've even seen in the last 2 to 3 years this revamp of the judiciary in Southern California family courts. And I think it's for the better for fathers. They're keenly aware of what's going on. There are a lot of really, really good family law practitioners that are now on the bench, and they understand what's going on.
Right. And I know we've had other podcasts, but you can't underestimate your role as a father in your children's lives, how important you are. Yeah. And remember, at the end of the day, that kid just wants to spend time with you. That's all they want, right? Yep. You're their hero. You just got to just be that hero, right? And all that is, they don't need fancy cars. They don't need fancy things. Be available to that child. Spend your time. When it's your time, spend that time with them. Don't send them to grandma and grandpa's house. Spend that time. Play on the floor with them. Shoot hoops with them. Ride a bike. Take them to the park. Be there. That's all they want.
Yeah,
is your time.
Definitely. All right, so I think that's a really, really good spot to end. Understand that no matter how low, no matter how far you've fallen in this, there is a way to get back to where you want to be, and it's about sticking to the plan. So, Ryan, thank you so much for your time today. To our viewers, to our watchers, thank you again for watching another episode, and we'll see you guys all again next week on the Fathers Rights Playbook.